there, welcome back to BackBit Impawsible. It's Loop Darksnout again, and in this episode, well, it's the beginning of my quest, I guess, to shave some cycles off of this player because it's about the only way I'm going to get it to play without, interference. That color glitching out stuff that you've seen time and again, that's going to plague me until I figure this out. Well, that's what I have to deal with now. So my first foray into this, well, I come up with a really good idea right off the bat, and well, things happen, and then I realize there's a problem, and then I end up giggling like a 12-year-old for the rest of the video, or at least off camera. Certain words, yeah, I whatever. Okay. Let's just watch. Yes. Okay, this is the packed color buffer again for the rollout. And you might remember how I constructed it. All the positive values were initially zeros, and that was a flaw. But what I did is, this is the 127th, and that's a negative. I always made sure of that. So then we go backwards, and every zero is points to that, right? Until we get to something that overthrows it, and then everything points to it. However, I went back over my code, and I added a little bit that, see, this is a 7F and it points to that. All the zeros, though, are no longer 7Fs because I want to make sure I flag these in a special way so the rollout creator will not bother creating instructions for those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 times 4 cycles, 40 cycles saved right there. Beautiful. And so as you can see, when it unpacks it, see this first one's a 3, so 0, 1, 2, 3. It writes that. It's a 7, goes here, writes that. An A, well, goes right here, writes it 13, goes here. So all the zeros now aren't part of the packed buffer, because the packed buffer before used to be 512 bytes brought in no matter what. And even though this one, for instance, was the one that got executed, all of these other ones were 7Fs just because it made my code writing easy, although the odds of them ever getting executed was only going to happen if it was falling behind. In the very first frame has got something negative in every single cell. So I'm still not running a risk of it going backwards on itself. This will buy me some extra time because there is, I think, what do we got? 2 character sets with 1,880 characters in each, like 1,880 bytes in each. Video matrix, which is 1,000 bytes. And now the packed color, which is no longer 512 bytes. It could be as many as, well, what would be the least amount? You could have something 7F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The very lowest is 8 bytes, which is next to impossible, but at the very worst, all 512, which only happens or only should happen on the very first frame. So instead of having 512 bytes on every frame, most of them, I bet you, are 256, maybe 100. Nice. This might put me over the top. This might make all the difference. To where I don't have to do too much extra work. I might not even have to relocate the DigiPlayer into 0 page. We'll see how this goes, because now this means I have to do the rollout again. So I created another copy of the BBT, and then I have to roll out the audio on top of that. Even though rolling out the audio only takes 2 hours, I don't think I want to make the bucket sort version of that, even though it's pretty easy. I'm just getting lazy now near the end of the project. Well, we'll get this started. It's going to take a few hours, and it's bedtime soon, so I'll see it in the morning, eh? All right.
Kiddo, will you? I'll go get the red ones on top.
No,
thanks.
This works with my new audio rollout. This is with the sleeker color pack. As you can see, it hasn't glitched out yet. Maybe that's just good luck, because sometimes the BBT lookups take longer than expected. It will cause it to trip. I was thinking of something while I was driving around today at work. My Unpacker is very inefficient. And it's not like it needs to be streamlined. Just the fact that you have code, maybe I can show it on the screen because it's better than trying to point at things that don't exist. But if you add up the cycles, whether it's looking ahead to jump ahead or to write 1 byte, which actually has to write 2, the cycles themselves, it adds up. It's pretty costly, especially if you have like 1 and then over here and then 2 and then it doesn't jump far. I was thinking maybe there's a way to improve this, even though the stuff that you write to the buffer is going to be larger. And even if it is, because right now my color, two pages per, but I do have that. So these could be 1K each, and this could be 1K each. There's my 8 buffers, right? So that still might be something I should look into because, this may not work very well. And another thing, I can actually rip out the code that times the BVT, wait delay, whatever it's called. I can use that code to time how long it takes the color buffer to unpack itself from the interrupt. And I was thinking earlier, it also has to be done by interrupt because it has to happen when the frame is being displayed, if it's in the middle of a wait delay, looking up stuff on the BBT, well, I can always check for that. But if it's in the middle of the main loop is dumping down information into a buffer, I still need to break out of that at a moment's notice and do the color. So that has to be done by interrupt. Yeah, it's fun having it at this stage, but it's also frustrating because I'm dealing with stuff like BBT access times, memory cards, physical crap that's no longer computable. You know what I mean? It's out of my hands, and I have to prepare for it, or at least make it easier and less likely to occur. I hope I can figure this one out. Okay, check this out. This is me hijacking my own code right there. This is like it says, right? CIA 2, right? So normally what we do is to time something, we start it by writing hex 19 to DDoF, and on the way out, we do that. I put the RTS here, but it will just grab those values, throw it into the pages I want, right? But here we got at 7,000, this is where I'm intercepting it. I'm now using it to time how long it takes to unpack the color. And when it's done, instead of an RTS, oops, it jumps to Boobs, which, if you can't tell already, is a temporary, there's Boobs, where it's just using one of my indexes to save it, right? So if we, and this is the thing that's really puzzling me here, because I mean, yeah, it's not like I called it something bad and all that, but it always hangs at the exact same spot.
May?
You see that? Okay, now we're going to jump ahead, and I'm going to load all this stuff, and I'll show you. You know, I've never tried this where I used a wildcard and then what's after it. Let's see if I actually got the program I expected to get. I did. Nice. So, okay, so instead of jump Boobs, we're just going to leave and not save the stuff, right? Because at 4,000, where we got our Boobs, this is all it's doing. This doesn't look too harmful, does it? We're taking the timer values and saving them. And the ear and eye pages, that is a safe spot. I don't think that's used by anything. I mean, yeah, it's overriding the assembler, but that's toast at that point. But anyway, check this out. Oh, yeah.
May?
Yes?
You're pretty pretty busy looking this way and that way, kiddo.
Okay, so why does it hang when I go to Boobs and not, yeah, Boobs? What a little puzzle.
May?
Yes?
You're pretty...
I have a theory on the mystery of Boobs, why that's corrupting stuff. We're going to go right back in. I got the Super CPU back in play, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. So, what was that? Yeah. Let's see. This is not the one that has the boobs. But what I'm going to do here, when it's done, oh, it is the one that has the boobs. That's right. Sorry. 7420. What I'm going to do, let's see. So we got a blank space. 7411 ink, well, a good old DO20, right? Now I'm going to put the phone down, do this a bunch. Ta-da! Okay. So just to recap, doesn't matter that Boobs is sort of there. I gotta stop saying Boobs. It's fun though. Okay. This is supposed to be just an RTS, but now we're doing all this wasted time increments because, come on, crash. Do it. Oh yeah, now you can see it.
May?
Yes? Yes?
Ha!
Yes? Yes?
Oh,
Yes? Yes? Yes?
okay. Now, you know what's going on? It's my sleek color unpacker because this particular color buffer, as you can see, it's all screwing up. It is actually stumbling upon a 0, and that's putting it back to the beginning over and over because now there are holes in my buffer where if things aren't exactly where they're expected to be, it can fall into those zeros that get sent back, or whatever was there, which it very likely is a 0 or a low number that does send it back randomly. And you notice my raster split isn't working anymore because the raster interrupts are not occurring. The NMI isn't increasing, like the digi isn't advancing itself because it's stuck in an interrupt, unpacking the color until the end of time. So my sleek color, whatever, is a bad idea because if the color screws up enough, everything derails completely, and that is unacceptable. Back to the drawing board. Okay, the version that has the sleek packed color doesn't work with Boobs, but the regular version does. This is the BBT access, not the BBT access times. This is how long it takes to unpack the color while the audio is playing for the very first frame. As you can tell, it's a full screen, so that takes over like almost, well, 1.5 screens. And then after that, this is how many cycles, which includes all the NMIs that happen in between for the audio. So basically, these are more or less almost half a screen, maybe a little less than that. But this is good data. I like this. Hail to the Boobs. I'm going to basically try different things, and this is what I have to compete with. If I can get these numbers down, then I know I'm doing the right direction. And of course, the beginning one is always going to be difficult, no matter what I do, unless I do something really drastic where the whole thing. But I can't dedicate a buffer of my rollout. I can't dedicate all this just to put down one thing of color. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Luckily, I'm not on a deadline, and nobody knows I'm toiling behind the scenes because this is going to take a little bit of time. And it certainly ain't going to happen tonight. 4 days later, haven't done a thing except think. But I found a good solution here. The Boobs problem. This is my color buffer. You don't know what it is because I'm putting only the things that matter now down instead of previous where everything led to the exit. Well, initialize it with this. So as every color buffer has this, whether, no matter where you land, you're going to get sent there eventually. So the holes are filled. The bra handles the boobs. Because previously I would initially everything, all 512 bytes was written, which is slower. But if you only write the ones that you need to, trusting that it's skipping over the holes and not tripping into them, it's fine. It's a little faster. But as you saw, it falls into the trap. So initializing it this way, you'll see it stumble over the part it always has, but it gets past it because it's falling into one of these and finishing.
May?
Yes?
You're pretty busy looking this way and that way, kiddo.
Ha! Well, that was not the solution that I want. That's more of a temporary thing because at the same time, I thought of what to do next. And it's going to make what I just showed you kind of irrelevant. So while the Boobs bra problem has been solved, what brought it on in the first place is my fault. Because if you rewatch the beginning of this episode, I confidently say there's no chance of it looping back on itself because the very first frame has color information in every cell. Well, yeah, that's true, but only for one of the 8 buffers. The other 7 had random crap there, holes, places that will cause it to go back. So, yeah, it's an oversight, it's my fault, and, I guess I learned something from it. And the bra patch does work. I don't know if I carry it through to the end of the project because in the next episode, I have my sights on something different altogether. And whether or not it works is yet to be seen. But I'm running into a big problem because I have painted myself into a corner. Next time on BackBit Impossible.